Ting transition scene. But we're getting into game. Top right side of Runes of Ceres, we've got the pink Protoss player. It's going to be Harstem.
In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, it is Nerchio.
He, of course, just tied up the Series 1-1 with a really aggressive move. I would expect aggression to be more of his flavor, not just basing this off of the Archon mode games we saw yesterday, but more so the results of the Archon mode games we saw yesterday. Every single match we had was PvZ or ZvZ, and all of the Protoss were knocked down to the lower bracket almost immediately, and all of it was done through early aggression.
Yeah. That's either any type of Roach Ravager push, maybe a little more into the mid game, or that's kind of earlier on Roach Ravager Queen push. They both seem to be rather effective. Now they're especially effective on the shorter maps, like Arena and Larlac Crest, which were actually the first two maps of this best of three. A little surprising that Harstem, kind of let that happen. Of course, Central Protocol is going to be one of the most commonly vetoed ones, but still.
Yeah, what
but,
you know, you
actually. Let's see here. I don't know.
I don't think they did. I think they did
in
Whispers.
They didn't. Yeah, they did it in Whispers, unfortunately. It would have been interesting. We've seen a surprising amount of people vetoing Orbital Shipyard. Dust Towers is still pretty popular, so not sure why that wasn't here. But Orbital Shipyard's actually been not getting that as much love as it used to. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think for Zerg it makes sense. They're sick of the Reaper openings. That's specifically why they're looking to tweak the map. But for this matchup, yeah, I don't know why that wouldn't be one of the go-tos. I think in general, though, you look at maps like, say, Central Protocol, that's got a tough to take third. You take a look at a map like Orbital, that's got a tough to take fourth. So that might be where the fall-off really is.
Well, the point is, it's almost like a mentality sometimes of I'll get the worst out of the way first. That's a little bit risky, but Harstem did end up winning that first game. So we actually got to this third game, Ruins of Ceres, a huge map where maybe waiting and to die to that same push isn't going to happen. Like, yeah, it's vertical spawns and it's a little bit closer, third base to third base, but it's still much longer.
I love the ace match spam in chat, by the way. So, we've got some emotes that we intended to be spammed that didn't get used for it, like First Blood, for example. I think the first week we had First Blood 2 years ago was used a lot, and no one uses it anymore because half the time it's bugged on Adepts. But I love seeing that ace match spam. So everybody who's spamming that shit, you guys got Rifkin's love. Faux show.
Right.
This is worth noting, though. Fast Overlord speed out of Nerchio. I'm wondering if it's drops.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be like he's like double drops on two different sides. This is exactly what you saw him doing on Detox.
Yeah, exactly. We were so focused on the Roach Ravager thing because that is also a big problem probably right now. But also we saw a lot of these link drops that also abuse the fact the new Photon Overcharge. You can't place the Photon Overcharge in as many places as you could before. So just, simply dodging it with those fast lings is going to be a lot more effective. And this can do a lot of damage. It's also Ruins, which, sure, the third base is right there, but you also have like this really wide ramp that lings are at least going to be able to get through. Well, the Phoenix opener would be okay if it could kill the Overlord before lings got out.
Yeah, that's actually great, but lings do get into the natural anyways, regardless of needing an Overlord hop-up or not. Hop-ons. This Overlord looks like it is going to go down. This is very unfortunate. You even feel like it's one or two lings out, but didn't get anything. However, despite this Overlord focus, there's still problems in the natural base. I guess it's worth noting that the Overcharge comes a little bit late to the party, but the Adepts still go down, and that much is pretty nasty.
And I accidentally right-clicked on that Nexus. No need for that. All right, not a bad defense so far. We've seen Phoenix openers actually still fail because they don't get on top of the Overlords enough, but that one was exactly what Harstem needed to make this a lot easier to defend. Nerchio wasn't exactly all in with this. He could just go into +1 melee, which is something we've been seeing a lot too. And the third base has been up this entire time.
Quick shout to Shire for the new sub. I love this. The more we cast, the more subs we get. There must be some correlation to it. I have no idea what it is, though.
Ooh.
It's just nice to see new faces join us in the channel. So thank you, Shire, and I hope you'll be one of the people spamming Ace Match in the future. But the links for Nerchio are driven off. Now, it's worth noting his opening he went for was not super dedicated in terms of going for a big all-in, but it seems that the follow-up certainly is. There's more lings on the way, +1's getting started. and Roach Warren as well. The Spore Crawlers are definitely more defensive than anything else, but the +1 we've actually been seeing players like Scarlet and some others use rather frequently, and can be quite scary.
Yeah. When Lings start to get upgrades, you know, it's surprising how effective they get. It's very deceiving, actually, when they get that full surrounds, either on units or structures. So it's going to be useful later on for potentially more Ling drops, but also as the supplement to Roaches or Hydralisk. These will actually do a lot more damage. Lair is coming down, so we are going to go into that mid game, and Harstem will have an opportunity to get a third base and basically try and get it to actually live for longer than 2 minutes.
Strangely enough, baiting out that overcharge is actually kind of nice. Again, with the follow-up being much bigger than what this currently is, losing 2 Lings here opposed to 5 Roaches later is a pretty nice trade-off. But he is going to have to actually defend first, and that's, I feel like the queens he has actually, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, he was getting a lot of queens, and I'm not sure if it's because of the Phoenixes, or he was trying to set up for a Roach push, but they are going to be helpful against the Phoenixes. There they go. The Depths took a detour. I don't know why they, they like were in the pocket of that expansion, but there they come now.
Oh, here comes that Sonic transfer. The Queen's being brought back just a little bit. But again, the Roaches and the Lings should be able to fight this out pretty decently. So Harstem does go for the cancel.
Ooh.
This is interesting out of Nerchio, though. I like this.
No double Roach Warren, which has become a lot more popular lately. So no speed.
I guess what's better, being faster or being sneakier?
I think sneakier has always been the choice when you do this build.
Yeah.
Like, if you can afford a double Roach Warren, that's cool. But, you know, oddly enough, with how popular it's gotten, and with Phoenix to be out in the field, maybe he's actually trying to hide it. You know, you only see one Roach Warren.
Right, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, but you're still going to see the spikes on the back, so...
Well, hopefully you burrow it right as the Tunneling Claws finishes.
Everyone get down!
Burrow finishes, yeah. Yeah, actually. Like, we saw that in the ZVZ yesterday, you know? Where the Overlords were right on top of the Roaches, but they burrowed and then moved. Like, it was, like, really clutch timing.
Well, even though this is Burrow and Tunneling Claws being made right now, the emphasis is still going to that +2 weapons. I was kind of hoping to see something akin to a Baneley Nest come down for some drops, but I guess with a Phoenix being around, it's a little too dangerous to do that. Although, not saying it won't happen. Either way, this flood of Roaches sneaking through the bottom of the map, getting across, the Lings being fast enough to get over there. I'm not sure where they go, but Harstem doesn't have cannons. The SimCity's okay, and looks like there will be a small amount of detection on the field. So there's going to be a little portion of luck with this. Like, can he sneak on by? Funny enough, though, this might also be for force fields. Going a little bit old school at this, I just want to note that Nerchio doesn't have any Ravagers. There's nothing to break the force fields if they were to catch some of these units.
Good point. Now, Tunneling Claws did finish, so I feel like Roach Speed should be starting soon. Hydrogen is coming down, the Queen's moving across the map.
It's really not obvious that Roaches don't have speed until after they're off creep. Like, on creep, you're kind of like, yeah, I can see them having speed if I didn't know better, but yeah, off creep, man, they move so slow.
Yeah. But that's a pretty hefty anti-Roach army, even with the Roach Burrow. Oh, this is annoying.
I'm surprised anything managed to sneak by those Phoenix, but getting 2 sets of Roaches into the main, and once again, they're going to have Burrow to move around and dodge some things like these overcharges. Not too bad, but Oracle, not Oracle, excuse me, Observer does come.
Yeah. The front is mostly, like, Queen heavy, so not exactly jab in the front while punching the main. The Roaches just do that job.
We still get a fair amount of probe kills. 10 go down for this, which isn't bad. That's, I feel, easily replicated, but...
I feel like the Queen's doing, like, a walk of shame home. They're, like, the Snoopy music behind them, like, whoa. Okay, we're not needed.
Elizabeth Banks, the entire movie.
Wait, what? What movie?
Walk of Shame. Or no, it was not called Walk of Shame. It was something like that.
Oh, man. I didn't see the movie in theaters, but I actually found my dad watching it. And he was like, he found it surprisingly hilarious. Okay, yeah.
Liquidity C, by the way, gets a shout out for the 19-month resub. Big time. Good stuff to see. We get Muscular Augments finishing up here in a moment for the Hydralisk. Once again, strange this being that Nerchio's tech choices I don't think are wrong, but they are certainly coming out in a bit of an odd order. Not going for Lurkers very quickly, but prioritizing the Hydras are good because of the amount of Phoenix we saw, but those could and should eventually become Lurkers, ideally. The Roaches do have speed now, which is nice, so they are moving at a very decent pace. And there's a lot of them that can knock down this 4th, actually.
Yeah. Harstem with not much map vision on the left side, mostly on the right side. The War Prism, or no, those are the Phoenixes right now going to the base. The fourth is canceled, and the attack on the third is actually entirely Hydralisks.
I don't like
They're
that.
missing that fodder. It is a little dangerous.
Yeah. Zealous charging in as well, deal damage on impact, so the Hydras with really low health already take that damage. Roach is splitting from the north side, though, kind of pincering in Nerchio with a very strange attack, but once again, everything out of Nerchio has been a little bit different this game, I suppose. Queens are going to be the fodder, no transfuses going down, losing a lot of them right away. Oh no.
Dang, the acrobatics that Harstem has to do right now to catch up on both
Yeah,
sides
right?
is quite impressive. And it's actually working not so bad. I mean, letting this many roaches through kind of sucks, but he's attacking now with his own War Prism. The Hydra attack did not end up busting his third. It didn't even get the Forge.
You know what blows me away, though? This is like a huge Roach Hydra attack with +2 melee weapons. Like, can we just discuss that for a moment?
Yeah, I don't know. Thought he was gonna go for Lings, and I guess just changed his mind. Oh well.
He may have been thinking that too and saw an opportunity or a necessity, what with the emphasis on the Hydralisks, but that Lurker Den could still save him if he gets time for it. The problem is, this many Immortals, a couple of Archons, if there's detection, they're just going to walk into the heart of the Lurkers and focus fire each of them down very quickly.
Well, this is going to be an entirely upgradeless army versus +2 Protoss, so that's pretty impressive. The creep was starting to get cleaned up. It was getting kind of far in the middle of the map, so it's necessary. Fourth base once again going to be denied, but can Nerchio hold on for the push with about half of his army on the other side of the map?
I'm not thinking so. He's pulling drones out of the base, not to the fight, so that's a good sign to try and stay alive a little bit longer, but I don't think there's any Lurkers. It's just the Hydras, purely and entirely. And Immortals with their new barrier are much better at fighting Hydras than they were in the past, but Immortal, Archon, a couple of Zealots, maybe a Storm on top that's peppered in. Yeah, there we go. These Hydras are going away pretty quick, and that army supply is dropping for Nerchio.
But that is a full surround. Nothing but Immortals left over. The last Archon about to die here. He can... Oh, those were... Oh, never mind. That was a full surround, and then reinforcements are actually kicking his butt, so...
Amazing gaming! GG!
Nice.
AmazingGaming.net!